Hello YouTube. This is a bit of a different video because I'm not making it with my regular audience in mind. For most of you, the content of this video will come as no surprise and won't challenge any of your previously held beliefs or opinions. Instead, this video is meant to serve as a sort of public service announcement, something that can be shown to the uninformed or misinformed to prevent them from being duped in the future. What I intend to show in this video, beyond any reasonable doubt, is that the Twitter account TakeDownMRAs consistently lies about the men's rights movement. To get started, let's just read this account's description. As men, we say MRAs are the worst. They spread misinformation about feminism while hurting men's real issues. And yes, they just flat out hate women. So the account claims to be run by more than one person, but for simplicity, I'll be referring to the account as he. Now, let's get started. We'll be looking at several tweets by the account and examining the truth of the claims made by them. I focused specifically on tweets where he screen capped articles or tweets because those are the easiest to prove to be lies or misinformation. For the record, I'm not claiming everything this account tweets is a lie and all his opinions are wrong. All I'm claiming is that he has demonstrated a consistent pattern of lying for the clear purpose of making the men's rights movement look bad. At this point, I should also explain that while I'm not a men's rights activist myself, I am sympathetic to their cause, and I'm on a friendly basis with several people who do consider themselves men's rights activists. I have made videos on men's issues on this channel, but I don't think a few YouTube videos qualifies me as an activist. So, with that out of the way, let's look at the first tweet. TakeDownMRAs says, anti-feminist women can cozy up to MRAs all they like. They'll still send them death threats. Okay, sounds bad. Men's rights activists send death threats to anti-feminist women. That's a very serious accusation. Let's hope he has some serious evidence to back it up. I see he screenshotted some tweets there. Let's take a look at them. So, toxic femininity tweets, sweet. Video hasn't even been up for an hour and I already got some MGTOW hate. And the second image shows fighting MGTOW saying, look at me, I have a cunt and I don't like feminism, give me attention. No, fuck off. And toxic femininity response with a heart, and fighting MGTOW says, kill yourself. And then we have one more. This is from fighting MGTOW's Twitter feed. Another example of women trying to attach themselves to men's rights / anti-feminism. This is just another attempt to ingratiate themselves. Okay, so the first thing that strikes me is that the dude is called fighting MGTOW, not fighting MRA. That's a bit odd, since I know for a fact that MGTOWs and men's rights activists are two separate groups, even though they do tend to have some overlap in membership. They're like socialists and Democrats. They're two separate groups, but it's not uncommon to find someone who is both. Okay, so there's a chance that this fighting MGTOW fellow is also a men's rights activist. But nothing in TakeDownMRA's screenshot proves that. He did mention men's rights in one tweet, but mentioning men's rights is not the same thing as being a men's rights activist. But what really bugs me here is the claim that MRAs in general send death threats. Plural, MRAs plural, as in all MRAs. Well, let's look at this nasty little fighting MGTOW. Oh, 27 followers. And I checked, not one of them mentions men's rights in their profile. So that claim that this person is representative of MRAs is complete bullshit. You might be able to make an argument that they are representative of MGTOWs, but even then, 27 followers. This is a nobody. And silly me, I tried to point this out to TakeDownMRAs himself, and their response? He sent me this tweet. Here's the world's largest men's rights site calling itself MGTOW Central. Bye, Felicia. Oh, goody, another screenshotted article. Let's take a look. Okay, so we've got something from A Voice for Men, and the title is A Voice for Men, MGTOW Central. As the highest traffic website promoting men going their own way, MGTOW, values, A Voice for Men is indistinguishably MGTOW central. This site has published several of groundbreaking essays on the topic and has consistently promoted the lifestyle. In fact, if we were to rename this site AVFMGTO, it would not be at odds with the work we do here. Seems legit. I mean, the home tab is selected. It looks like that's from the website's about page or something. Seems very official. But let's just check Google just to be sure. Well, would you look at that? It's an opinion piece from 4 years ago by someone called Peter Wright. Peter Wright doesn't run, edit, or own A Voice for Men. He's not the elected leader of men's rights activism. He's a guy who runs a website called gynocentrism.com. And A Voice for Men's actual about page not only doesn't mention MGTOWs, but clearly states, and I quote, "A Voice for Men does not speak for the entirety of the men's movement." So no matter how you slice it, this one opinion piece written by this one guy several years ago does not mean that MGTOWs and men's rights activists are the same thing. This article does not give you or anyone permission to assume that anyone who calls themselves a MGTOW is also a men's rights activist. And that is exactly what TakeDownMRAs has done here. And as you'll see in some of the other examples and throughout his account, he uses this article to justify blaming everything and anything said by any individual MGTOW on the entire men's rights movement. So that's example one of TakeDownMRAs misleading people. He's claimed MRAs send death threats. All he showed was that an individual, virtually unknown MGTOW told someone to kill themselves, which isn't even a death threat. I wanted serious evidence. I found nothing of the sort. But our next tweet, this one's a beauty. TakeDownMRAs says, "Let it go, dude. She can't hurt you anymore." And we've got something back from Paul Elam, so let's take a look. So Paul Elam tweeted, "My mother, the sociopath." And it looks like it's a link to an article. And then we've got the next image is an excerpt. Men's rights activists often cite the first time they realized it's a woman's world. They call these red pill moments. After the scene in The Matrix where the main character is faced with the decision to swallow a red pill and recognize the true nature of the world, or take a blue pill and continue living a lie. For Elam, that revelation came at age 13 when his mother tried to force him to take his diarrhea medicine. So this example might be my favorite one. Based on this tweet, it looks like Paul Elam, the founder of A Voice for Men and a prominent men's rights activist, wrote an article about how his mother is a sociopath, and in that article complains that his mother tried to force him to take his diarrhea medicine. Well, a quick Google search shows that, first off, Paul Elam didn't write this article. The article was written by someone called Jim Thompson on April 1st, so there's a chance that it's not even a serious article, but rather an April Fool's Day gag. And even if it's a genuine article, it's not written by Elam, but it's written by Jim Thompson, and this is his only article. And the really interesting part is that the passage TakeDownMRAs screenshotted doesn't actually appear anywhere in the article. In fact, the passage isn't even from A Voice for Men. No, that passage came from this BuzzFeed article. How men's rights leader Paul Elam turned being a deadbeat dad into a money-making movement. Paul Elam has become the face of the modern men's rights movement by rallying against false rape accusations and divorce courts that favor mothers. But exclusive BuzzFeed News interviews with his estranged daughter and ex-wife show that his pet causes are very, very personal. So let's count the lies here. First, TakeDownMRAs makes it look like Paul Elam wrote the article about his mother. That turns out to be false. Then he includes a quote that seems like it's from the article Elam supposedly wrote. That turns out to be false. Not only is that not from that article, but it's from an article specifically attacking Elam. This is some next-level dishonesty here. It's bad enough to misrepresent someone's views, but to make it look like something written to attack someone was written by the person themselves? That's just despicable. But hey, this is just two examples. If I were TakeDownMRAs, this would be more than enough evidence to show that everyone opposed to the men's rights movement is a dishonest, immoral person. But I'm not like him. I'm going to prove it to you with even more evidence. Let's look at another tweet. TakeDownMRAs says, MRAs, women don't want dangerous jobs. Also MRAs. And then we have an article saying female police officers and soldiers reduce everyone's safety. Well, that looks like a clear case of hypocrisy there. But wait, where is that article from? Oh, yeah. So here's TakeDownMRAs claiming MRAs believe something based on an article from a site that explicitly is not a men's rights site. This is just straight up lying here. There's not even any clever misinformation involved. It's almost disappointing how blatant this lie is. Moving on. TakeDownMRAs says, this is why we need men's rights. Then we've got two images. The first one, King David says, today's debate, Red Lobster isn't a real date. And y'all females wonder why dudes don't want to take you out at all. Shaking my head. And the next image, glad they made a men's rights movement. It's definitely needed right now. Now this one's clever. See, the implication is that men's rights activists care about frivolous things like whether or not Red Lobster is a real date. And the proof is, here's someone talking about that, then immediately following it by saying how much the men's rights movement is needed. And then you check the dates of those two tweets, and you see that the one about men's rights was actually made the day before the one about Red Lobster. And that's not all. Here's the context of the men's rights tweet. So this is someone who just discovered the men's rights movement. He doesn't even follow any men's rights accounts. Yet somehow this person in the mind of TakeDownMRAs is a valid representative of someone who cares about men's rights. Now in this case, he didn't outright lie, but I wanted to include it to show you that even in cases where he's not lying, he still presents things in a manipulative way. Everything he tweets is specifically designed to make the men's rights movement look bad, apparently by any means necessary. So I'll show you two more examples and then we'll be done. TakeDownMRAs says, MRAs are mad that Amazon's Alexa thinks inequality is a bad thing. Then we have something else from Paul Elam here. Amazon Alexa, the feminist ghost in the machine, and a link to an article. And then a quote from the article. I've just received delivery of an Amazon Echo. If you've been living in the wilderness for the last year or so and don't know what this is, Echo is Amazon's equivalent to a Google Home device, a talking AI assistant that really works. By default, you address the Echo device as Alexa. For me, this is a science fiction of my childhood come true. Unfortunately, every silver lining has a cloud, and Alexa comes with a distinctly dystopian one. Alexa, are you a feminist? Yes, I am a feminist, as is anyone who believes in bridging the inequality between men and women in society. So amazingly, these quotes are actually from the real article, although of course it's not actually written by Paul Elam, but rather by someone called Andy Thomas. But let's look at the claims being made. The first one is that MRAs are mad. Well, I don't see any signs of anger in the part of the article quoted there, so there's no evidence to support that claim. And the second claim is that the reason MRAs are mad is Amazon's Alexa thinks inequality is a bad thing. But again, that's a false claim. This article isn't complaining that Alexa is opposed to inequality. Let's look at the next paragraph of the article to see what it actually is complaining about. It doesn't matter what you think of feminism. This response is just idiotic, assuming, of course, that Amazon wouldn't actually want to needlessly alienate a substantial portion of their customers. Only 7% of the UK population consider themselves feminists. Oh, so it's not that Alexa opposes inequality, but that Alexa espouses a particular ideology, which the author considers needlessly divisive. I agree. TakeDownMRAs apparently thinks that feminism is the only valid way to oppose inequality. Those evil MRAs are backwards people for thinking otherwise. But let's see the rest of the article. To be fair, I don't think Alexa's response is due to a deliberate policy of informing us as to what we should believe. Rather, I suspect a feminist ideologue on the Amazon development team slipped the response in there. So I complained to Amazon and suggested that, while they're at it, they implement a male persona as well. Well, that sounds remarkably calm and reasonable for someone who's, quote, mad. Amazingly, I received a reasonable positive response. Upon reviewing your comments, I understand that you're looking for male voices in Alexa. I'm glad that you have contacted us regarding the areas of improvement. Further, I do agree that Alexa should not hold any personal opinions on highly contentious issues. Thank you for bringing this to our notice. I forwarded your message to our Alexa development team, who would be able to review this and would work on future improvements with the next software update. Well, would you look at that? Amazon agrees with those evil MRAs. Alexa shouldn't hold personal opinions on highly contentious issues, like whether feminism is the best way to deal with inequality. So I suppose Amazon is an evil MRA company now? I guess? So here's an example of TakeDownMRAs lying both by omission and in the old-fashioned way. The claim made in the tweet is clearly false, and reading the rest of the article makes it abundantly clear just how false it is. And that's on top of the usually dishonest tactic of taking an article written by an individual and attributing those views to all men's rights activists. And now on to the final tweet. TakeDownMRAs says, "Another Nazi on a killing spree who subscribes to men's rights vids on YouTube. But let's not talk about the radicalization of white men." And the first image is from Mike. It says, "White supremacist who stabbed New York City black man says it was practice for Times Square massacre." So, in case you don't know, this is the guy who stabbed a black man and said he was planning to stab a bunch of other black men. Obviously a complete evil nutjob. And the next image shows several YouTube channels, which we are to assume this nutjob subscribed to. So we've got Finnish Nationalist, The White House, Esoteric Truths, Girl Defined, Alt-Right Andy, MGTOW is Freedom, Angry MGTOW, and NPI/Radix. So this is pretty much a repeat of our first example, right? An individual horrible person appears to be a MGTOW, so TakeDownMRAs feels justified in smearing all men's rights activists based on this one individual. But this case is even worse. Now he's implying that men's rights activists go on killing sprees and that watching men's rights content will radicalize people and turn them into killers. I mean, accusing a group of human rights activists of promoting killing sprees and doing it based on false information, that's a pretty scummy thing to do. Now, I'm not a big believer in the concept of evil, but someone who does this kind of thing certainly seems to qualify. And for the record, the image of the killer's YouTube subscriptions does seem to be accurate, but as usual, it doesn't show the whole truth. Here's an image of all the subscriptions of an account reported to belong to the killer, and I'll link to it below. And you'll see he subscribed to a variety of things you could, if you had a mind to, blame him for becoming a murderer. But see, to do so is to be no better than people who claim that video games or music cause kids to become school shooters. So to sum up, I've shown you 7 tweets by TakeDownMRAs in which he was dishonest to varying degrees, and in a variety of different ways. And I didn't even have to look very hard to find these examples. All the tweets featured in this video are from within the past 2 weeks. So hopefully by watching this video and sharing it around, we can encourage more and more people to stop trusting the shit that comes out of this account. Because there's a word for distorting the truth to push a particular political or ideological agenda, and that word is propaganda. And if there's one thing I absolutely hate, it's propaganda. So whether you support the men's rights movement or not, if you care about truth and fairness and honesty, you should be doing your part to spread word about this propaganda account. I've armed you with the evidence. Now go ahead and use it. You're welcome to mirror this video on your own channel, assuming of course you link back here and give me the credit. And just so we're absolutely clear, I don't have ads on my videos, so I don't make any money by you sharing this. Hopefully, at some point, someone who takes TakeDownMRAs at their word will see this video and will understand that they've been believing lies. And even if that never happens, making this video has been a very satisfying experience. Until next time, I'm Positive Improvement, and I wish you all the best.